welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to continue down our slasher movie road. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, a shameless plug for my TeePublic page. I'm going to post a link in the description box below if you're so inclined to check those designs out. I greatly would appreciate that as well. And today we're going to talk about a movie I've actually never seen until I purchased this Blu-ray. And that movie is Nightmare Beach. Yes, you can get this Blu-ray. Kino Lorber has a Blu-ray out for it, has a pretty decent transfer on it, and has an interview with the composer. So if you are interested in this film, you can get it online at Kino Lorber or at Amazon.com or anywhere you get your Blu-rays. And I know it's getting a little slim out there with Best Buy closing up shop, but you can get this anywhere you buy your physical media online. Nightmare Beach came out August 18th of 1989. It's rated R. It's an hour and 30 minutes long. I could not find a budget for it, and I also could not find how much money it made. I looked high and low, could not find those numbers, so I don't know have any of that information. But this movie was supposed to be originally directed by Umberto Lenzi. He's an Italian director, most notable, directed a bunch of basically grindhouse fare kind of films, but his most notable film that I've ever heard of is Cannibal Ferox, back in the early 80s, around when the cannibal films were, like Cannibal Holocaust, all those kind of cannibal films were being made overseas left and right. So he was originally hired to direct, but when he got to Florida, because they shot this in Fort Lauderdale and North Miami Beach, he was having disagreements with the producer. So he dropped out of directing, and Harry Kirkpatrick, which online some people think that was the name Umberto Lenzi used to direct this film in a pseudonym, but no, Harry Kirkpatrick was actually another name for a gentleman named James Justice, who actually wrote the script for the film. He stepped in to direct this film, but Umberto Lenzi actually stayed on as a technical advisor. But Harry Kirkpatrick actually directed the film. Now, in this film, we actually have some notable character actors, some legends in the business. Actually, Michael Parks plays Dr. Willett. He is the town doctor or coroner in this film. John Saxon, the great John Saxon, plays Stryker. He's a police officer with the police department in this town. Lance LaGoule plays Reverend Bates, and I bring him up because if you've loved 80s TV or 80s movies, you've probably seen him. Now, where I remember him most from was Colonel Decker on the A-Team. But he was in MacGyver for a few episodes. He was in Airwolf, Knight Rider. He appeared. He was also in Stripes, the movie, Iron Eagle. So this guy had a ton of credits. If you look at his IMDb page, he has a ton of credits. The man has since passed away, unfortunately, but as soon as he popped up, I'm like, hey, I remember him. He was Colonel Decker on the A-Team. So yeah, he's in this film as well. Now, the most people you wouldn't know now, we're getting into the most unknown. Nicholas Toth plays Skip. He's his ex-college quarterback for the Florida Gators that's going to spring break with his buddy, his best friend. And Sarah Buxton plays Gail. She's a bartender that Skip meets and becomes smitten with. So basically, right in the beginning of this film, we see somebody getting executed with the electric chair. And here we find out that he was the leader of this biker gang in Florida. And he says he's going to come back. He's going to get his revenge. And pretty soon after that, as we're getting introduced to our characters, this biker shows up with a helmet on. We never see his face, leatherly clad. But his motorcycle is different than the other biker gang as we meet them. But his way of killing people is through electrocution. And he has his bike rigged where if somebody sits in the back seat, he can electrocute him, or if somebody touches it in a certain spot, he can electrocute him. So that's his main method of dispatching of his victims here in this film. And, you know, Skip is basically a tale of, you know, it's spring break. We see nudity here in this film that you would see in an 80s style slasher film. It's not overly hardcore, though. There is some of the effects are pretty good. Some of them, you can tell this is a lower budgeted film. Some of the effects don't come off that great. But for the most part, it's handled fairly well. The directing is pretty standardish. It's nothing special here. It's competent enough that you can see what's going on, and it's not overly stylish, let's put it that way. This isn't Carpenter or Craven here. But, you know, the directing is serviceable. And pretty much this guy's killing people on spring break, and basically it's a murder. It's a mystery. It's a typical slasher film where it's a mystery. We don't know who's doing it until the final reveal, which wasn't that much of a surprise. I had a feeling, this is my first time watching this film, that it was probably, you know, Reverend Bates, because he is against all the debauchery going on, and he says it multiple times, like he's hammering it home, even to his own daughter, about her transgressions going on. He's unhappy with it all. So at the end of the film, when he has Gail trapped at this, like, scrapyard, and he's trying to kill her, and Skip's coming to try to help her, when he takes off, the helmet gets taken off, it's not much of a surprise. And he dies by the way that he kills his victims through electrocution. And that is pretty much Nightmare Beach. So what to like about this film? Well, the setting, it's spring break, it's South Florida. It looks inviting, the ocean's there. So the setting, they definitely play up the spring break angle. Everybody's drinking, everybody's partying, everybody's having fun, everybody's trying to get laid. So the setting works for what they're trying to go for, and they picked the right spot filming in Florida. The death scenes, there's a couple cool death scenes here. It's not overly graphic. There are some graphic moments for sure, but this isn't a bloodbath. I mean, this was the late 80s, so by this point, the MPAA was definitely hammering down on horror films. I mean, Friday the 13th Part 7 had a hard time when that came out. The Nightmare films towards the end of the 80s were having a hard time. So the MPAA was definitely cracking down from the excess of the early to mid 80s at this point. So it's graphic in some parts, but it's not overly graphic. So, the kills are okay. There's a few cool, inventive ones, but there's nothing really, there's no top 10 kills here. It's just, it's pretty standard slasher stuff. Although, like I said, he kills people through electrocution mostly. It's great to see Michael Parks and, John Saxton here, and even Lance LeGoul is good here too. I mean, they're seasoned actors. They're the most seasoned actors here. And you can tell when they're on screen, the acting's good. When we go to our young folks, it's just okay. And some of these folks went on to do like soap operas and other things, but this was early in their career. They're okay here. They're serviceable for what they got. It's not great acting, it's not award-winning acting, but when the veterans are on screen, it definitely steps up in the acting department. Again, the surprise of who the killer is, I kind of figured out about halfway through who it was from his preaching to people about the debauchery going on. So it was pretty obvious it was, the Reverend the whole time, at least to me anyway. At the end of the day, this is an okay slasher film. It's nothing special. I kind of had a good time with it, though, for its cheesiness and that. I enjoyed myself enough to recommend a watch of this if you can find it. It might be streaming on Tubi. Tubi streams a lot of these types of films. God bless you, Tubi. Never change, as I always say. So yeah, if you I don't know if it's streaming on Tubi. I can't confirm that, but there is a Blu-ray available from Kino Lorber, and the transfer is pretty damn decent. And there's a special feature on here with the interview with the composer, and the music's definitely a rock style score here, and it works for this film. They're kind of going for that rock kind of soundtrack, and it works fine here. The jackets worn by the main biker gang here actually has the logo from the 1985 Italian film Demons, if you've ever seen that film, which is a pretty cool horror film. If you've never seen it, I recommend checking it out. But overall, at the end of the day, this is a perfectly serviceable slasher film. It's nothing great. It's not going to go down the annals of best slasher film of all time, but it's a perfectly enjoyable time. Yes, there's issues here. It's not the best well-shot film, and the acting's not the greatest in some aspects, especially with the younger actors. They do okay here. But it's always great to see Michael Parks and John Saxton here. And I would give Nightmare Beach a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for Nightmare Beach. Have you ever seen this one or even heard of it? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with some more reviews. But until next time, bye.